right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm James Hayes, Intervention Specialist for Man Fatherhood Initiative, and we're here with some representatives from Caresouth, and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves.
My name is Daniel Myers. I'm LPN by trade. I'm also the MAT SUD Program Director for Caresouth, and just love being a part of this Man-to-Man initiative.
Thank you. Also, we have one young lady who's behind the camera. You can't see her, but I'm going to allow her to introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Jackie Anderson, Community Outreach Specialist for Marlboro and Chesterfield County.
All right. And today, we've come here today because we're talking about men's health. And we know that men's health is very important, especially in rural South areas. And so when it comes to men's health, how can we improve? Well, you know what? Let's back up. Because I know we also have the coronavirus.
That's right.
And I know we want to talk a little bit about that before we go into men's health. So give us a little information about the coronavirus.
Well, we understand that this is a worldwide pandemic. You know, it's affecting everybody everywhere. And so the main thing we need to do is practice our social distancing, as much hand washing as possible. Wear your protective equipment, your PPE, your mask, and just make sure that you are maintaining all CDC guidelines. If you're a business or a business owner, make sure all your employees are maintaining those CDC guidelines for your hours of operation, and just make sure that if you have any symptoms, any elevated fever, any cough, any body aches, or any of the other things that CDC has said is now new symptoms, make sure you get those things checked and see your either primary care provider or go to your local ED and get tested. If you do find yourself being positive for COVID-19, just stay home. You know, just lock yourself in the house. Don't come around anybody. If you got any family members there, they need to stay home as well. Anybody that you came in contact with, they need to be contacted. They need to stay home and isolate for at least 14 days. If they start to display symptoms, they need to find, actually call in and talk to somebody from ED or their primary care provider.
Right. That's a lot of good information there. For people who may not have access to, say, the internet or access to this information that you presented, how can we get them this information?
So if they don't have internet access, let's say if you're out traveling, if you're in your car, a vehicle, most of your local churches have a Wi-Fi service where you can pull up in the driveway and you can link to their internet. Most of them have open bands right now to help, especially the children going to school. Log into some of those websites, go online and look at the local numbers for your area and find out what they're doing as far as the businesses that are open, what they're doing as far as guidelines that they're setting in your county or your areas. Also, watch your local news because you have an update every hour, every 2 or 3 hours you have an update on what's going on. So that's a good thing. And actually listen to your governors and your state representatives speak about what's going on and what they're opening up and what they're closing as far as right now.
Definitely great idea. And I know a couple of days ago I was at a local place here to eat, and I noticed this guy. He was like right here on me. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, okay, listen, you're supposed to be social distancing. So I was polite with him, like, sir, excuse me, the social distancing, and let's kind of spread apart a little bit. And so sometimes, I know a lot of people don't want to express themselves when they're in a crowd of people. But sometimes you just have to let people know, hey, listen, let's social distance to keep ourselves safe, because not only do you have to protect yourself, but you also have to protect your family.
That's exactly right. And so isn't a question of being offensive. This is our health that we're talking about. And we're our first advocates for our health. So if we don't look out for ourselves, then who's going to look out for us? So if a person is talking too close to you, get too close, we do have close talkers. Right, they want to be right up on you. They're very social people, and I think that they're wonderful people under different circumstances. But now, since we are faced with this, we're going to have to isolate ourselves a little bit and, maintain that social distance. But it's okay to keep our social relationships, intact. So,
and speaking of keeping social relationships intact, we're talking about men's health.
Yes,
and we know that a lot of men, health is not priority number one on the health list or on the list, okay? And so we want to encourage all the men out there. We're not forgetting about the ladies. We're not. But men, we must take care of our health. The reason it's important to take care of our health because we have children, we have grandchildren, we have wives, and we have jobs. And If we're not healthy, we can't take care of the family. We can't go to work. We can't put food on the table. So it's important to be healthy. And one of the reasons we're here today to talk about men's health, we're going to talk about how to stay healthy or what things we can do to continue a healthy platform. And what are some of those things?
Well, the first thing we want to do, we got objectives that we want to cover. We want to make sure that we increase awareness of special health risks that face males. We want to discuss symptoms and risk factors that for top diseases among men. We want to discuss mental health, especially depression concerning men, because that's a big issue. Okay. So explore attitudes about using health facilities, communication with healthcare providers, taking preventive measures to avoid disease. We also want to enhance ability to communicate comfortably and effectively about our health. Right. Also, we want to explore behaviors and lifestyle choices for a man to stay healthy, which is really, really big, that's really important to us.
I actually had to do that myself.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. Okay. I also explored a fatherhood connection concerning health and paternity issues. So some of the main things we need to do right now is just know our numbers, know where we are as far as our health, know where, just develop a communication or environment of trust amongst our healthcare providers and the facilities that we visit. That's one of the main things we need to do.
All right, so don't let me fall live on the camera, okay?
Oh, I got you. Jackie got you. Jackie, she used to be a step double back in the day, so she can tell you how to fall correctly.
So I want to give a shout out to some folks who are actually on live right now. To James Triggers, shouts out to James. Thank you so much for being on live. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to just hit us up and hit us up while we're talking. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. Now let's talk about, first of all, let's go into if I may ask you about depression. And I know that a lot of men face depression, and many men may not even know that they are depressed or they have depression.
That's right.
And so it's kind of difficult for them to really talk about it. Mm-hmm. All they know is, okay, I woke up this morning, I'm sad. Yeah. I'm not feeling good, or something is going wrong. So, and I know for myself, there was a point in time in my life where I was facing going through a depression, and I didn't know it. And so for men, how is it that we can recognize it or get help for it? Or how do we even know that we have it?
Well, first of all, a lot of us, we don't know because we don't understand what mental health is. We don't understand how important mental health is. And, right. Just to be a little transparent with myself, I'm prior military and I was diagnosed with PTSD. And so how did I know I had PTSD? After over time, you start listening to symptoms, plus we're screened in our military, doing our VA appointments to see if we have this. But with men, we might wake up in the morning, we feel like, okay, well, I'm not making enough money. I'm not making enough money with my peers. I can't see, I'm working from or living from paycheck to paycheck. I just feel a sense of inadequacy. Men don't talk. And so the more we internalize things, the worse it is. Because if we don't talk about it, we can't release it. And so the more we pile on us, and the more you just by lifting weights, the more weights you put on you, the lower you get. Yes. And so the more weights we pile on us mentally, the lower we get, and the worse we start feeling, to the point where it starts affecting not only our mental health, but it affects our physical health as well.
Wow. Now let's talk about that, because I don't think a lot of people understand how much mental health can affect your physical health.
Well, first of all, let me say this. There is no physical health without good mental health.
Wow.
So if you don't have the mindset to do better, you're not going to do any better.
Wow. Could that be the reason for a lot of our unhealthiness, as far as saying not exercising, or not going for a walk, or not just doing physical activities? Could that play a role in the mental health part?
That and the lack of understanding of what exercise is. And because we feel like if we work all day a 40-hour job, we've exercised. If we walk back and forth to our machines or walk back and forth from our department to the break room, we're exercising. But exercise needs to be something that's dedicated to just exercise, not work. And exercise is beneficial to the body. Work we do because we have to. But exercise is just dedicated to making sure that my heart rate is correct, my breathing is correct, that my muscle formation is doing what it's supposed to do. But if we don't have the mindset, first of all, the mental wherewithal to set aside a time for us to just exercise. First of all, men wear ants on their chest, right? Because we're super.
We try to,
right?
We try.
Because we feel like, well, that's not going to affect us. We good. You know, as long as I can get up in the morning, and as long as I can lift 1,000 pounds, I'm healthy, right?
I thought the same thing.
But that's not so. I mean, there's a lot of unhealthy people that look healthy, and so we can't be blinded by appearance, because there's other things that take place that relates to your health other than what we can see.
And I just real quick, I remember one day, this young lady who's behind the camera here,
Jackie,
that you can't see, we were doing blood pressure checks, and I remember one day after everybody had got their blood pressure checked, you know, I'm still walking around feeling fine. I mean, I thought I was fine.
Yeah.
And they checked my blood pressure, and it was through the roof.
Yes.
Like I couldn't even believe how high my blood pressure was, and I felt fine. I'm like, well, and which speaks to why it's a silent killer, because
Right.
I'm like, I thought I was good, not knowing I was literally on the verge of having a stroke or a heart attack.
That's right.
Like I was literally about to take myself out. And so I know exactly how important it is for men to know your levels.
You got to know your numbers.
You got to know your numbers. It's important because it will take us out if we're not paying attention to that. And I understand sometimes we want to be Superman.
Yeah, we do.
But that's the reason why we have these numbers here.
That's right. And brother, you know, just you know, to your defense, you know, and because I can do this because Jackie, they can't see Jackie right now. So this is my time to get her right. I know your blood pressure is probably high because you work with Jackie all day. So that probably was the issue there too. But that's neither here nor there. I don't get you gonna get me. But it is a silent, you know, it's a silent killer because we feel good. What happens is your body adapts, and over time your blood pressure continue to rise and your body adjusts. It adjusts. And then over time, after all this pressure on your blood vessels, they get weak. You know, but think about when you got a water hose and you keep crimping that water hose, you know, you crimp it. You know what I'm talking about? You know how we do it.
I know exactly.
And over time, right there, when you got that crimp, what happens? It becomes that ball of that water hose become weak. And that's the same thing with blood pressure. Then whenever you put a nozzle on it to compact that pressure, right there at that weak point, what happens? It blows. And that's your stroke. And so, and that's what happens with us with elevated blood pressures and not being checked regular like we're supposed to. As men, we feel like the doctor's office is, you know, it's a way. It's a hindrance. You know, it's a distraction because we could be doing so much more and spending a lot of time. I could be working, making money. I can't stop and go to the doctor's office and get my numbers checked. And that's when we run into stuff that we're running into right here.
That
you know,
costs you your life.
The hazards of being a man, right here, right? And so we're the death rate for cancer and cirrhosis of the liver is 2 times higher in men than women. You know, because you know Jackie don't have a problem going to get a checkup. You know, women don't have that problem, right? Jackie, do you have a problem? You have things to say about that?
Absolutely. Women are more prone to keep up with their appointments and to follow up with our health issues.
And women talk about their health issues, right?
And we talk and we share. There are also more health networks supporting women.
That's right.
Than there are supporting men at this time.
Because they have a whole area dedicated to just women, obstetrics and gynecology, right? But you know, the only time that we see a urologist is when we have a problem with our kidneys or we going for a vasectomy, right? And so when you have things that's dedicated to just men are more apt to do it, right? Just like women are, because this is about my body, this is about me. Right. Somebody that's seeing me understands me. A man feel like, well, anybody gonna really understand. Plus, I don't want to share my weaknesses with another man or with a woman because it makes me look inadequate. So
and Brother Terrence Turner said something. He said there are a lot of healthy looking people that are unhealthy.
That's right. That's right. And society got us fooled that is, and nothing against what I'm about to say, but society got us fooled that if you're skinny, you're slim, you know, and you look petite, and you got the muscles, that you are healthy. And the ones that are overweight and considered obese are unhealthy. It can be totally opposite. So you can't look at a person and say you're unhealthy based on their appearance.
You're absolutely right. And one of the things that I've had to learn is a lifestyle change.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've had to learn to not learn, but I've had to start like exercising.
Adjusting, right?
I had to adjust because at one point I had stopped exercising, did a lot of unhealthy soft drinks, you know, killing the soft drinks, and now I'm all water, trying to get rid of all the sweets, exercising on a regular basis, 19 pounds down. So, but as men, I think that we have to slow down a little bit, and stop trying to be so macho and take care of our health, because so many young men are just dying because of unhealthiness. That's right, and it can be prevented. Look at number 2 right there, where it says death rate for heart disease 2 times higher in men than women. Wow.
right?
But you see more women at the doctor than men.
Because being, as long as my heart beating, I'm good.
Right.
They don't care about the irregular heartbeat because you can't see that. They don't care about the clogged blood vessels because they can't see it. If a man can't see it, then it ain't. In our mind, if we can't see it, then it don't exist.
Wow.
Right? So, and we always fool ourselves that and this is how we get medical advice. We go to the barbershop, right? And if somebody can share something they're going through, the first brave person, and every Saturday morning, there's one brave person say, "Yo, man, my toe was hurting last night. What y'all think about that?" And you got a bunch of doctors with no degree in the barbershop, and people get bad information and bad diagnosis in the barbershop. And plus, somebody say, "Well, my toe was hurting." Well, man, the only thing I did was put some salve on it, some Vicks vapor rub, and took some Robitussin, right? Which is universal cure for everything, according to us, right? And so, well, my toe was hurting last week too. Not thinking they can have gout, they can have arthritis, anything could be going on. So when you start having problems with your body that's not normal on a regular basis, men need to start talking to their primary care provider. If you don't have one, get one first of all. Somebody can follow your health, they can keep track of your numbers, they can keep track of your health along with you, make you accountable for what you need to be doing.
And so if for a lot of men who can't afford, say, insurance, how do we get access to a healthcare provider?
Come see Caresouth. Jack, you want to tell them about that?
Yep. Yes.
She's behind the camera.
Yeah.
She's behind the camera. You can't see her, but
Thank
you can
God.
hear her. Go ahead,
Yes,
Jacqueline.
being one of the community outreach specialists at Caresouth Carolina, we have a few programs that can help. We have a sliding fee scale for patients that are currently without insurance. We have programs to assist enrollment in the marketplace, which is through the government. We have several programs to help you with medication assistance, prescription assistance program, that is called. But I kind of wanted to touch back and wanted to roll back on the conversation about men in the barbershop conversation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times that can be important.
It can be important. You're right.
Because like you said, that opens up and lets the man know that, okay, I'm not the only one going through this. Wow, I'm having the same symptoms or the same problem as this young man sitting next to me in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
So it brings a little bit of awareness, hopefully enough to get them to look into it and come into the doctor's office and to get it checked out.
That's true. That's why a lot of the barbershops, I leave a card, a Caresouth card, referral card. So they have some issues, like when the barbers, if you got any issue with somebody, they come in with some problems, don't let people give them bad information. Tell them that this is the person they need to see, because that barber wasn't seeing anybody either. And so once I gave him an education on Caresouth and how we do as far as our, we don't turn any patient away. So we don't have insurance. We find a program to fit you to get you seen. We're not going to say we can't see you because you don't have any money.
No.
Caresouth would never do that. Anybody that comes to Caresouth will be seen for their problems, and we will help them in any way we can. We'll go above and beyond for our patients and the people in our community.
So no excuses.
No excuses.
No
nothing.
excuses.
No excuses.
Wow.
And there are some times that we'll also provide transportation. If the patient does not have transportation to our facilities, we can arrange that as well.
That's right.
Wow. So you're saying if a person does not have a ride to get to Caresouth, to get to their apartment, you guys can actually arrange transportation.
Yes. Which will be free of charge to the patient.
Free of charge.
Yes.
No money.
That's right. And if the person qualifies, there will be no charge for their medication. And if they qualify for a marketplace, there'll be no charge for their visits. If it's a charge, it's going to be a minimum charge. Very,
Wow.
very minimum.
So wow, you guys just ruled out all the excuses that we can make. And so we definitely should be taking advantage of trying to get to a healthcare facility or Caresouth to make sure we get checked out.
Do you have an excuse not to go home?
No.
You love to go home.
I love to go.
That's why Caresouth calls itself a medical home, because we take care of all your needs under one roof. That way you don't have to go anywhere else. And so that offers a level of stability and level of comfort that some places don't offer. And so the more we can increase our relationship and better our relationship with our patients, the more apt they are to spread the word. It's okay to go and see somebody.
And just for the guys who just tune in, for the men who just tune in, we're talking about men's health and why it's so important for men to be healthy. One of the major reasons is if you're not healthy, how can you take care of yourself? And if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of your family? How can you make sure your kids are taken care of? How can you make sure that your wife and mom and dad and everybody else that depend on you, how can we make sure that they're taken care of when we're not taking care of ourselves? And I understand, it's a pride thing.
Yes.
And one of the things I had to get over was the pride factor.
Yeah.
I had to get over the pride of letting somebody know, listen, I ain't okay.
Yeah.
There's some stuff going on inside of me that I need to get fixed or
right.
get somebody to check out so that I can be okay and continue to work and do the things that I need to do to take care of my family. And so to all the men who are watching, there's no knock on men whatsoever,
No.
but we as men, we must come together and get our health in order.
Yeah,
this is important.
And this is encouragement. This is no bashing and nothing like that. We want to encourage you to come out. There's a proverb that says, pride comes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall.
Right.
So it means if our pride is the one thing that leads and rules us, then it's going to always lead to something bad. Because we can't see anything other than us, right? And so we have to understand that in order for us to be the providers that we were destined to be the home protector that we were destined to be the friends, to be the whatever, we have to make sure that we are here. And when those main focus of being here is your health. Because if you're not here, you cannot fulfill none of those jobs, right? And you can't fulfill those jobs adequately if you have poor health.
That's true.
Right? Your insurance is going to be higher, right? Your family's going to be always under. There's going to be constant stress in your household, right? Constant turmoil in your household because you're trying to make ends meet when you can't go to work.
And one of the things I'll say, I know a lot of men, they have a busy work schedule. But here at Man to Man, one of the things that we do is we take out one day out of each month and we do what we call the heal day, to where we get the guys together. We may go to the gym, we may go to the basketball court, but we do some type of physical activity, just the men, just us. And then after we're done, we don't stay too long. After we're done exercising or having fun, just chilling with the guys, then we eat a healthy meal together, like a family. And we enjoy that. And so for a lot of the men who say, well, I don't have a lot of time, I don't have a lot of free time, I invite you to come and participate with Man to Man on Heal Days, to where we take out at least one day out of the month, and we may do even more. We should do more, to where we take out a day and say, okay, we're going to focus on our health today. It's all about our health, mental health, physical health, emotional health.
That's right.
We're going to focus on all of that.
That's right.
Because we want to turn these numbers around.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We don't want this tombstone saying bye.
No.
We want to turn those numbers around.
Turn them around. So
that we can enjoy the family time with our family.
That's right.
And if you have young kids, they're energetic. You got to have the energy to go and play and have fun with the kids.
Yes.
Because if you don't have the energy, all you can do is sit on the couch and they're out having fun, then you're not going to enjoy. You're going to miss that time with those kids.
Right.
That's time you can't get back.
No, you can't. I got a 17-year-old who's into sports. He's 6'3", big guy, and so I make sure that I'm doing my thing for one reason, because he's bigger than me, right? So I got to make sure, just in case he tried me or something, not saying he wouldn't, but I got to make sure in my mind that I'm comfortable, that just in case he try, I'm good, right?
Good.
Right. If he do get me, I want to make sure I'm healthy enough that I can heal appropriately. Right?
Healing is important.
That's important. That's right.
It's important.
But you cannot heal properly with bad health, right? So
help me understand this, right? So I was looking at this earlier today, and I saw where it says men are 3 times more likely to be murder victims than women. When it comes to our health, why is this such a big deal as far as men?
Because we're risky behavior, right? Women are not as risky as men. Well, most women, Jackie, of course, like I said, stunt double for, Shaq.
Risky behavior, and I agree with Daniel on that. Yes.
Yeah, men are risk takers, so we take more chances. Our tempers are a little that machismo, that macho thing. Okay. Where I got to be the baddest one on the block. I got to make sure I win this argument. I got to make sure that I show up first. That kind of stuff. Our mindset needs to be a little different as men. That if we got a family, then we need to assess our risky behavior and kind of lessen that a little bit. So it says, and look what it says about the suicide rate are higher among men than women for the same reason. Men don't talk, right? And so they internalize things, and then they get to a point where they can't handle it, and then they're more apt to take their lives. Before women talk about that,
more apt to take their lives using a gun.
Using a gun, and why a gun, right? Because they're more comfortable with a gun. A woman will not use a gun as often as a man, right? Because they're not as comfortable with guns.
So what about being arrested for drunkenness? It says we're 13 times more likely.
Because we don't ever get drunk. Men don't never get tell the truth. I mean, come on.
We're good, right? No matter how much you drink, we're good, right?
Good. Always good. That's right.
I can drink a 5-gallon bucket of liquor. And I ain't drunk. I can't stand up and I can't sit down. I can't do nothing but just hover. But I ain't drunk. Right?
We never admit.
No, we never admit. And plus, once again, go back to risky behavior. We get back in the car and we drive and we do success because we can handle it. We ain't drunk. Man, I only had 32 beers, man. I had 40 last week and I drove home. Right? So,
and you know what it surprised me is that we speak of risky behavior. We never stop to say, okay, wait a minute. If I operate this vehicle under the influence of anything that gets me high, then I could potentially not just harm myself, but harm a totally innocent person that has nothing to do with me.
Right. And you know, and on a serious note, and that's what really bothers me, because I remember growing up, and I remember the guys in my neighborhood, they would sit around this little what they call a little bootleg house, and they would drink, and they would get in their cars, and they would drive off speeding wide open, you know, fast, but not considering that there was children playing in the neighborhood because they thought that it was okay. You know, they thought everything was fine. I'm not drunk. I can handle it. You know,
right.
I can hold mine. I can hold my liquor. I can do. And there's a misconception that we operate vehicles better when we are under the influence. My senses are more sharp. You know, my reflexes are faster. And 9 times out of 10, no, it's a known fact that a person's senses and reflexes lessen the more they drink. You know, so
you know, so I want to encourage everybody out there to please do not operate any vehicle under the influence of anything that gets you high.
No substances.
No substance. And let's speak about substance abuse if you can.
Yeah,
as far as substance abuse, we know that there's a big push for the legalization of marijuana, but that's considered a substance.
That's
correct.
Yeah.
So why are we men? Why are we one of the biggest users of substance?
Because we internalize things. That's our way out. That's our escape. That's our vacation, so to speak. That's our mental separation from all of our issues for the day. And since we don't like to talk to a counselor, since we don't like to share our emotions or share our shortcomings, we internalize things, and we have to use something to make us kind of block that.
Wow. So is it safe to say that if men took more paid more attention to their mental health, our mental health, and we got help for our mental health, then the substance abuse, alcoholism, maybe violence, would we see that come down?
With the proper, Jack, you want to say something about that? With the proper counseling, Caresouth offers, we have a counselor in every site. We have a mental health counselor, behavioral health counselor in every site. And those counselors are there to help with just this situation right here. Because there's some cause to this effect. So we have to get to the root cause of why you're doing what you're doing. If we can solve the root cause of why you're doing what you're doing, we can eliminate the behavior, which means to change the behavior and to change the outcome of what can happen with possible substance abuse. But we have to make sure we have all those things in place. That's why I said there can be no health without mental health, period.
Interesting. Because in my mind, I was just playing back, you know, a lot of activities, even in my own life, but friends and relatives that I know, like, man, what could potentially happen if we were to get mental health counseling earlier rather than later?
Exactly. And you know, and even in our culture as Black people, that's one thing that we grew up not doing, because that was you don't talk to nobody about your business. You know,
right.
You don't tell nobody, you don't go to nobody and tell nobody your business. People don't care about you, which was a misconception, and it could possibly have changed the movement of our ethnicity if we had sought counseling earlier and been taught about counseling earlier and given accurate information about counseling. But getting back to men, it's the same concept. Men feel like, I'm not going to share this with nobody because I don't want to appear weak or out of control of my situation, which is it's a misconception that if we hold everything in, that eventually it's going to work itself out, right? We got some type of magic thing in our brain where we put all of our problems, and if we leave it there long enough, it disappears. That's a lie.
In our culture, no one wants to be associated with that stigma.
Right.
Something's wrong with you. You know, your mental health.
And stigma is a big thing with everything, right? Stigma affects our health, it affects our mental health, it affects our substance abuse. Stigma affects everything. What somebody else think about you and what somebody else says about your condition is what affects all of our health, all around the board, universal.
And it gets down in the communities, it get downplayed.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with you, boy. Go sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the devil. Ain't nothing but the devil in you.
Well,
Ain't nothing wrong with you.
Exactly.
It gets downplayed when mental health is real.
And as a man, you were told, I was told, I can't say you, speak for you. As a man, I was told, men aren't supposed to cry. Quit pumping out, stop crying. Go there and sit down. Right? And so we can't, it's okay to cry. That's part of our emotions. We're born with that emotion to cry. When we was born, the first thing we did, the first way we communicated was through crying. Right? And so even in that crying gave that action caused somebody to react to us. Right? So we got nurturing from that crying. So why does it change when you get older that crying now is not part of nurture? Right? Because it's a cry for nurturing. It's a cry for help. So we should really, it's okay for a man to cry. To me, the strongest man, my dad was one of the strongest men I knew. Mentally, physically. And for me to see him cry, let me know it was okay for a man to cry. Because he never told us, well, don't you sit down, don't you cry. He said, whatever you feeling, let it out. Let it out. And so, and that's what I grew up doing. I ain't no crybaby, but if something bothered me, you laughing at me, Jay? You laughing at me, Jay?
Yeah, she laughed at you.
Okay, man. But it's okay. I mean, if you got an emotion, let that emotion go. But don't to a point. Right? Because we always said men was risky and men was more time to get murdered because sometimes emotions go overboard. So we also like to also have control of our emotions.
So let me ask you this: as men, how can we get more men to be more concerned about their mental health as well as their physical health? What, especially in the rural areas, where they can't get fast access to the doctor, they can't get uptown to maybe go to the local gym. We're out in the rural areas. All you see is fields and woods.
Right.
What can we do to get men in those areas just to focus more on mental and physical health?
Education is important. Education is the key to everything. The more a person's educated, the more they understand the process, the more they understand all of that. So having things like this and having people who specialize in mental health and behavioral health come up and do a podcast with you or live with you so they can explain mental health is really important. Because sometimes a person don't seek help because they don't know the resources or they don't know they need help. And so the more they understand that this is what this is why you feel this way, this is why you feel that way, and we can help with that. A person really won't help. They go seek resources. But if you don't know it's a resource available, then you don't even know where to look. You don't even know that's help for this. So having my supervisor, who's Liz Kirschman, shout out to Liz, points extra day off. She's over our behavioral health department, and she'd be more than glad to have a counselor to come on, or even herself come in and talk about mental health as it relates to men's health. So I just volunteer.
Wow.
Yes. But it's also these open opportunity for our faith-based organizations to get involved with mental health in our community.
Exactly, and I should have said that, right? Because I'm a pastor in my community, and that's one of the things I do a lot of. I do a lot of counseling. I get phone calls all night because people are going through things, and even as a pastor, I still have to worry about my mental health because I take on a lot of people's problems, and so I have to have somebody to share my problems to as well. So it's a domino effect. So if I'm taking on somebody's concerns and somebody helping them with their issues, then I need somebody to help me with mine, and all down the line, that circle needs to continue because it keeps a healthy environment, keeps a healthy community.
One of James Driggers says this. He says, men use drugs and alcohol to kill everyday stress and pain, but that's not the answer. There's a better way to handle everyday life.
Exactly.
And I thought that was profound.
And I agree with Mr. Driggers. I mean, that's exactly. There's a better way. And what we're talking about today is a better way. Men start the communication with each other. Start to talk to their providers. They can talk to their. I always tell people this: the first counselor in the neighborhood that anybody talks to is their cosmetologist, is their barber.
That's true.
Right? They're unofficial counselors, right?
Unofficial counselors.
Unofficial counselors, because the barber hears everything, right?
That's true.
The pastors hear everything. So our first counsel takes place in the communities that we live in. Not if we can't talk in our household, then we can go to one of these places and we can talk. We can get it out. So it's okay to talk to your barber. Make sure your barber either signs up for a mental health first aid class, because they have those available through the state. Mental health first aid for all these business owners. They can have mental health first aid classes. Caresouth offers a training for mental health first aid. And so we can have those barbers come in for a mental health first aid class through Brenda Petruccelli, right? Is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And so she can set up a class to have people come in and she can go to mental health counseling with them, or mental health first aid training with them, and help them be able to deal with people who come to them with issues.
Wow, I didn't know that. So you just shared light. on some
Well, I'm just
good information.
I need to get a rate behind all this stuff.
Yeah, just share the light, right? So at the end of the day, when we look at these numbers and we see that men are 3 times higher and 6 times higher, especially 3 times with suicide rate, what is it about us? You know, what? And I know we're talking about it, and I guess what I'm trying to get to is, okay, we can talk about it, but what can we do? That action, actually get more fathers to realize that, look, if I take care of me, I can better take care of you. I can take care of my kids. I can make sure that I can get back and forth to work. I can, you know, have fun with my family. You know, what can we do to get that action behind the words that we're saying?
Actually, you're doing it. Networking.
Yes.
Networking is your action. Each one teach one. Each one reach one, which is a large part of networking.
And in case y'all knows,
No man left behind.
No man left behind.
Jackie has a northern accent, so you know. In case y'all didn't notice that, but I agree with Jackie. Networking is important. Also, education. Education is important, and educating to a point where they can trust the medical providers, because trust is a big issue. Because they feel like, you know, this person don't look like me, so they don't know my struggles, right? This person just want my money. But health, you find your healthcare provider that you can trust, that has your best interest health-wise at heart, and that's what's really, really important.
And I'll say to a lot of the men as well, you know, there's nothing wrong with a little lifestyle change. There's nothing wrong with adding less salt,
That's right.
less sugar, less pepper. You know, nothing wrong with portion control.
That's right.
And what I've found is, and this is what's interesting to me, I guess I've been taking notes on myself, that when I began to live a healthier lifestyle, my mental health improved.
Yes.
Because I was sick and didn't know it. Then when I realized I was sick, then I started to feel it.
Yeah.
You know, I was starting to feel it, and my mental health was kind of going this way. But when I began to live a healthier lifestyle, it kind of did this.
It increases your self-esteem.
It increased my self-esteem,
your confidence.
Felt better during the day, can focus more, can concentrate on the things I need to focus on.
And it increased your awareness about you.
It did.
Right? So it made you pay attention to your body and the triggers in your body and the alerts that your body give out when you're not feeling well. So it makes you think back, well, is that what I was going through when I had that headache for a week? Is that how I was feeling whenever I was just aching all? Is that what I was going through? Right. So it opens your awareness and increases your awareness about your body and about your health. And it makes you value health more.
It makes you value your life
a whole lot more, right? And then everything attached to you, you start to value more.
Right.
So once a man values himself and values his health and values his life, he values everything attached to it. And that's your family, that's your job, that's your relationships. And so which is mental health, right? Which goes back to mental health. So we have to really get a person's mental state changed. Once I change it, if I can change your mind, we can change your body.
And so
opens your pineal gland, but that's a whole nother topic, whole nother discussion.
What now?
A healthier lifestyle will open your pineal gland.
Please explain.
It's your third eye.
Your third eye.
Yeah, that's what you said. When you begin to make healthier choices, your thinking was clearer.
That's
You
true.
open your pineal gland.
Wow.
Whole other discussion. Just wanted to add it.
Yes, we definitely will.
I would ask you what that was next to your thyroid gland, wasn't it?
I definitely wanted
It's
to.
considered your third eye.
Okay. Wow.
So that's your sense of awareness. Is that what you
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
that's absolutely what happened to me. And so I want to encourage everybody out there. Every day I do what I call a lunch walk. And after I eat my lunch, I go for a walk. And it's not a long walk. It's nothing, excruciating. It's something I walk around the block and I come back. And that has really been valuable to me. And what I've learned by going on the lunch walk is it gives me more time to think, more time to breathe, and more time to focus on the things I need to focus on. So I want to encourage everybody out there, if you're able, take a lunch walk. After you eat, just go for a walk, kind of clear your head, kind of get some exercise in, kind of get your heart flowing. That's exercise in itself, right?
It is. And we can cut back on the lunch curls.
Yes.
Lunch curls.
Y'all
talking about?
Cut back a little bit.
Cut back on the curls.
I've had to fight that. That has been a struggle for me.
Yeah.
It's been a battle, and I've had to fight. But I've taken it on full force. Like, okay, some days I lose.
Yeah.
but some days I win, and those are the victories that I count.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
when I win, I'm like,
That's right. Don't get caught up in the failures. Right. You just focus on your victories because I have to go back to the Bible. We all fall short. So we all fall short in everything. So we're never 100% consistent all the time. We fall a little short every now and then. But if you can get back up, the Bible says the just man falls 7 times, but he get back up. So even if you fail 7 times, you did get back up 14 times. You've done twice as much as you did before. So it's okay for us to. You should have a cheat day. That sounds bad, no. You should reward yourself. Don't overdo it, but you should reward yourself for some of those things that you kind of I distance myself from. So I did good this week. Let me get an ice cream cone, right? Let me do it for myself. Reward yourself. Rewards are what it's a big push and it's a big incentive for you to keep doing what you're doing. So that's why we come to work, right?
That's why.
We get paid, right? And that makes us come back the next week, right? So reward yourself.
So we're going to encourage everybody out there to do good, but reward yourself.
Reward yourself.
All right. So any other information as far as men's health that we can? Oh, smoking. Got to talk about that. Got to talk about the smoking part. Give us the dangers of smoking.
Let's go to the slide so they can see it.
Okay.
Sometimes people can when they see something a little bit better.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
So let's take the top causes of death in
My
men.
goodness. Did y'all see this?
So the number one cause of death in men is heart disease, right? The number 2 cause is cancer, which smoking is the leading cause of all cancers in America. So cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, colorectal cancer, pancreatic and liver cancer. Women is breast cancer, lung cancer, colon cancer, uterine cancer. So a little sidebar for women right there too. And so smoking is the leading cause of all this. Not to mention where we live in South Carolina, because we live in poverty-stricken area, you know. So our diets are a leading cause to that as well. Also, the number 3 unintentional injuries and homicide. Just like when you say you almost fell off the stool.
Yes.
Right. That was unintentional. Right. So and things safety risk takers we're less safety conscious than our counterparts, women, and we are more aggressive. So that's what leads to us dying early out in the streets. Okay. Number 4, chronic lower respiratory disease, which is caused by what? What it says on the end. Smoking. Right. COPD goes back to smoking. Right. And when it says COPD, can be stuff like asthma, bronchitis, stuff like that. You know, chronic. So and then stroke, which leading causes what? Smoking, which leads to heart disease, which leads to stroke, right? So all these things are wrapped in a circle. So when you leave stroke and you go to respiratory illness, most of our patients who are dying from COVID-19 are dying because of existing conditions. Yeah, like diabetes.
And all of those which are what they call inflammatory diseases.
Yes.
All 7 of those are what they consider an inflammatory diseases, which makes us more susceptible.
Yes.
You know.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the underlying issues.
To worsening symptoms of the coronavirus.
Yes. Because if it's a respiratory disease, first of all, it's a respiratory virus, first of all. If you're not healthy in any of these passages, especially your heart that carries oxygenated blood back and forth through your lungs, so that's already diminished, right? Diabetes, which attacks the microvascular system, which is where the exchange takes place, villi and all that stuff. So if all those systems are damaged and you got a respiratory virus that's in your body, how likely are you to fight that?
Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely, right? So it's going to increase your liability, liability of being overcome by it. So, but if we work on our lifestyle change, right? Change our diet, exercise more, be more health conscious, be more mentally conscious. We can change some of these risk factors that we have. We can increase our numbers with diabetes. You know, lessen our likelihood of developing diabetes, or if we got it, kind of get our numbers in order. Decrease our possibility of having heart disease. Stop smoking. Decrease our likelihood of getting cancer. Right. Stop being a risk taker, and decrease our unintentional injuries and homicide. So we can kind of take care of all that with lifestyle change, mental health change, and seeing somebody that care about us, about our health. So, yeah.
Yeah, you almost preached that just now. I mean, that's just lifestyle change, period.
Yes.
I mean, if we focus more on lifestyle change, we can turn a lot of things around.
A lot of things around. Most people who are pre-diabetic, which have an A1C of like 5.5 or 6, they can get that change if they're becoming diabetic by a lifestyle change. The doctor tell you that. Change your diet, exercise more. Your A1C, which is the number that shows 90 days what your blood sugar has been on the average, that can be decreased, which decreases your likelihood of developing diabetes, which is one of the risk factors. If you decrease that likelihood of getting diabetes, you can decrease the likelihood of having heart disease, right? Mm-hmm. And so if your heart is pumping like it's supposed to, your blood is pumping like it's supposed to, you got healthy blood going to all those different organs that's affected by all this stuff, and you can decrease your likelihood of developing any of those diseases and live a healthy life and be here for your family.
That's so. I hope you guys got that. I mean, that is really good information. Lifestyle change. We're going to work on lifestyle change. We're going to focus on lifestyle change. So from this point on, I mean, I've changed my lifestyle pretty good, but I think I can do even better, John.
We can always do better.
Yeah, I think I can do even better now. I think I can go even harder and do more.
Set goals.
Yeah, set goals.
Set goals and set interval goals. In 90 days, I want to be doing this. And if you can't do it on your own, Caresouth has that ability to help you with your goals. Whenever you go in and get seen by one of our providers, there's a place in our EMR to help you set goals, and those people, that microsystem and those providers and nurses that you are seeing can stay in touch with you to make sure that those goals are being met at those intervals that you're asking them to help you with.
Well, before we finish up here, I just want to say to everybody who's paying attention to this video now, be sure to go visit our website. It's www.mantomanfathers.com. That's www.mantomanfathers.com. You'll be able to keep up with a lot more about what we got going on and what we're doing and the different events that we have going on. You'll be able to see it. Also, our Facebook page, Man to Man Fatherhood Initiative. For you guys who are watching, please share the video. Share our page as well. And let's get the word out. Let's spread the word. Let's get as many people as we possibly can to watch this video to help improve their health, because it's a battle out here. It's a war. We're fighting for our health. We're fighting for our life.
Yeah.
And we have to go at it just like we have to focus every single day. Like we have to live it like it's the last day of our life. That's how we have to work on our own health, because it possibly could be. We just never know if we live in an unhealthy lifestyle.
That's right.
And I want to say this, the day that I got my blood pressure checked, right? And so it was not even an issue for Caresouth to get me in that day.
Exactly.
Like, they didn't wait. It didn't take forever. No, they was like, look, you have to go now. Come here. We got you covered. And it wasn't even my regular doctor here. And they were like, no, we got you. We're gonna communicate with your doctor. We got you, because we need to get his blood pressure down right now.
Well, see, the first word in Caresouth is care. Right? And we care. We don't care who you were seeing and who your primary care. We care about you and your health. That's what's important to us. If you're healthy in this community, then you make this community healthy. Right? And so, but if you have a problem and you need to get in touch with Caresouth, we have locations in 5 counties. Our counties that we cover is Marlboro, Dillon, Chesterfield, Lee County, and Darlington County. So if you need to see, just come to those counties and you can find us. If you can't find us that way, go on our website, CaresouthCarolina.com. or visit our Facebook page, Caresouth Carolina. And then you can find us in all those things. So we can help you any way you want to be helped. We have mobile units, we have dental services, we have x-ray, chiropractic services, whatever you want. We got infectious disease, we got diabetes, whatever you need, Caresouth got it. Right?
Speaking of Caresouth, Man to Man is partnered with Caresouth.
Yes, we are. Yes,
Come and see Man to Man, get involved with us for the Fatherhood program, and we will make sure that you can get access to Caresouth.
That's right. We are family.
That's right.
Right.
Family.
We can tell you like this. Bam. There you go. We got it.
All right. So before we
no, Jack, how about give us some? No, I'm proud of you. Okay, Jack, give me some. I'm sorry, give me some, Jack.
So before we go, I'll let you have the last word and finish it up before we get done.
We keep focusing on lifestyle change, y'all. In order for men to be healthy, men have to think different. Put your health first. Start thinking about you and thinking about if you not being here, how it's going to affect your family, your loved ones. So go and focus more on your health. Know your numbers. Know where you are. Get checked. If something don't seem right, find out why it's not right. And once you know your numbers and know where they're supposed to be, you become more health conscious and more aware of you. And you'll spend more time with your body. Listen, our body is a temple, and how we keep it clean on the inside shows how we are on the outside.
Amen to that. All right, guys, we appreciate you jumping on the live feed for us. Again, I'll say do us a favor and share the video. Let's get this message out as much as we possibly can. Share it to your friends and your family members. Be sure to tune in next week, 12 noon. We'll be doing another live video. We're going to do a live video every single Monday at 12 noon here at Man to Man. So we need you guys to share as much as you possibly can. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.